when it came out, and I liked it. Maybe I've evolved since then, but I loved it. I think I now have more of an appreciation for what he was doing, and the because I do think that the first time I saw it, there were a lot of things where I said, "Oh, okay, this is silly," and now I'm catching. Well, yeah, it's an homage to so many different things, and yeah, they were silly.
Mm-hmm. Kill Bill is not a movie to take seriously.
Mm-mm.
Oh God, no.
Mm-mm.
Tarantino did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure
he
did.
does a lot of wacky stuff. I love most of his movies.
Yeah, actually, I do too. I haven't seen the newest one, but and Inglorious Bastards kind of has some highs and lows for me. But most of his movies I actually really like.
I think I've loved almost every single one of his movies. Even that shorter movie he did a part of, Grindhouse, with Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Whatever it was called like, not Death Race or something. It was called something. It was pretty slow paced. That was probably the weakest or worst movie he's ever made, and even I didn't mind it all that much, actually. So,
Yeah.
big Tarantino fan.
That's the one with the chick with the machine gun leg, right?
No, that's the Robert Rodriguez one. That's no, the one that Tarantino directed of Grindhouse was the one where Kurt Russell was a serial killer that like he was a stunt driver that killed women.
Oh, I see.
Is it Death Proof?
Death Proof. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Thank you, person in chat. Double D.
Yes,
thank God.
thank you. Thank.
I'm not thanking you.
All right, that's nice. Okay. So, before we get started, do you guys have any questions for me outside the session?
Oh my. I guess not.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have a big one.
All right.
I was going to say psychotic body armor. The psychic body armor.
Mystic.
The mystic body armor. I know it is crystalline and kind of in the shape of old school armor. Is it transparent or see-through?
Not completely. No, it's like white crystals.
Okay, good. So so if I'm wearing this armor, the average person would not see my face enough to recognize lots of features and stuff.
Unless you take your helmet off, yes.
Got
correct.
It. Okay, that's because Piph and I were thinking about it. It's like crystal. You know, if it's clear crystal, this guy knows exactly what I look like.
Okay. Think of like cloudy glass or something like that.
Awesome.
So you know there's someone underneath it, but you can't see any details of any features.
Sweet.
But you could probably tell you have like 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
Then I am good.
Okie dokie. Well then, if you guys are ready, why don't we get started here?
All right.
I do believe we are ready.
Great. Oh, let me just get one final stretch. So for those of you asking, Criana might join us a little bit later on, but she might not due to reasons, which I will not go into any great detail, but suffice to say she's not under any medical distress or any crisis or anything like that. So, when we last left off, Al finished both talking to Manzan the Doom Speaker and casting a few spells to kind of convince this fellow, this creature, this Dayin, to kind of change his behavior a little bit and to divulge information. We left the session with Manzan leaving the room, asking a few careful questions, and with you guys saying, all right, well, take us, to your people. So we'll start the session to paint the scene with a little bit more detail. We know that Tom, Patrick, and Manzan are near the front of the ship. We're going to say the area of the hallway just before you actually enter the cockpit. Alicia's in the cockpit, And Al is further down the hall, probably around the corner in the next room. Since, if I remember correctly, he wanted to withdraw himself to make sure he wasn't seen by Manzan, because that invisibility spell doesn't last, forever.
Correct. In fact, he's going to try and go to some separate room and start madly stripping off the body armor. So, yes.
Okay. All right. I'll let you know when it's off. But the conversation with Manzan hasn't finished. We just paused. I remember, if I remember correctly, Manzan asked if you will be taking this ark to his people, if you're going to fly him there, and if he's going to walk. And you confirmed that you would actually fly him to this location. He shakes his strange DB head and says, "Good. Then I suspect you've been there already, but if you have not, simply go a few... what distance do humans use? Mics? No, that's not right. Miles. 2 miles to the northeast. You can deliver me back to my people." Most of you, actually, Tom and Patrick were in this conversation. No. He is directing you back to Winter's Outpost.
Goody.
Fine.
That's fine. Are you sure?
Patrick, definitely knowing this, still, he's a bit cautious with his words, and he goes, "Yes, I'm sure we can make the trip."
His Manzan's tan-colored eyes that match the color of his skin, look between you and Tom carefully.
I thought we were gonna go find this Rena person, but okay. Come with me.
Manzan doesn't budge for a moment, and he looks square at Tom, and he says, "What do you know of the Dai Yin?"
Tom will just shrug.
I thought as much. Our word for ourselves, Dai, is our word for 2. Yil is the word for tier or step or platform. Yin means one who stands upon the step, the platform, the tier. We see ourselves as components, a part of a tier of power. So some call us Dai Yil, and some call us Dai Yin. There are small differences, of course, but we have learned to be very patient with outsiders who don't understand our culture. The point, he says, is this. If you are a Dai Yil, such as ourselves, you live on the second tier. The tier below us are lesser creatures, beasts such as the goats and the pigs that we herd and the deer that we hunt. To them, we are the ultimate power. We determine their lives. We our fates over their death and their continued existence. To them, we are like, I suppose your word for it would be like gods. And one tier up from us, a tier of power upward, a trial, would be creatures that are more powerful than us, who, like we to the beasts, they are like gods to us. Now, if they are truly divine beings, it doesn't matter to our philosophy. What matters is power. The beings of great power can make ones of lesser power do whatever they want. And up the step goes. Trial, have quarial, quarial, have quintial, and so on and so forth till you get to the ultial, the ultimate tier. When I was scooped up, scant minutes ago, in that golden net, in strong hands that I couldn't see, I could have swore my first thought was a trial finally came to claim me, to do with what I want. But it has spoken to me, and true trial do not ask for a lesser tier, a lesser step to do its bidding. Just as we do not ask the hogs if it's all right to slaughter them, or ask a goat to milk another goat, or ask the deer where to find the other deer, so a trial does not do such to a dial. But that does not mean that your thing, what you call a spirit, does not have its own power. It has power and has showed me horrible things. Rena has power, and she has shown us horrible things. Truth be told, I am tired of the tiers of power. I thought Rena was right. Now you say Rena is wrong. I don't care. I don't know if the world is going to end, if our species will be wiped out, if humans will be destroyed. But either way, I don't want to be Manzan the Doom Speaker anymore. I want to go back to my village, back to my parents, and seek for their forgiveness. And if the end times are to come, then I want to spend it with them. Deliver me back to my home, back to Winter's outpost, and I will tell you what you want to know. I will tell you where our encampment is. I will tell you about Rena. And perhaps either you and your spirit, or Rena and her children, will find out who truly is the most powerful, and therefore who speaks the ultimate truth.
Okay. Tom's gonna go to the pilot's chair.
Opens up the door. Manzeg peers into the room, but he doesn't enter. Clearly, his tan eyes look around very curiously, but after his little speech, he doesn't say much more.
Before Tom starts up the engines, he is going to say over the intercom, "Well, folks, we are going to take a quick jaunt. We will be leaving shortly. Make sure everybody is ready for a trip."
Patrick will...
Go ahead.
Patrick will speak up to the Doomsayer and say, I'm actually interested in many cultures. If you have more to say about them, I would be most thankful.
Before he replies, just a quick heads up. Al, you are now completely out of the mystic armor. You've been able to shed it piece by piece.
Got it. I think Al's going to take another second to steady himself and then walk back out to see what's going on.
You'll see down the hallway, you'll see Manzan the Doom Speaker speaking with Patrick. His voice is Manzan's voice is a powerful rumble. You can hear him quite clearly. through the open door past them, you can see a little bit into the cockpit, but you can't see any details. But of course, you heard Tom over the intercom. You can also probably hear a lot of shuffling down below in the cargo bay as the remnants of L Zone Prime, Mila and Bear and whatnot, board the craft. And you can hear the sound, the dull sound of the distance of the cargo bay's doors slowly closing in a thunk as they finally shut completely. Manzan replies to Patrick. He says, I will share more with you while we travel, but I imagine once we soon arrive to Winter's Outpost, you will have different questions for me. But until then, fine. Human, I'll enlighten you as best I can. But I am young for my species. I'm not wise.
Patrick will say, I'm very new to your culture, and even basic things like, I think there may be a difference in gender in your name. Am I correct about that?
Correct. Dail I and Dail E. That is the name of our two sexes, our two genders. Our reproduction manners are nothing like humans. Our organs are nothing like humans, therefore our genders are nothing like humans. Do you want me to go into detail of how Dayin reproduce?
Yes.
As the ship begins to take off, right, Tom?
Oh yeah.
Before he answers the next question for you motherfucker.
Yeah, I knew.
But before I continue that conversation, let the other players who aren't privy to this conversation have a chance to act or let me know what they want to do in this meantime.
You know, you as a group have been together for a while. When you said, "Would you like me to explain?" I was like, "Of course, Patrick would."
Yeah.
Okay. So the ship will begin to slowly lift off. I guess my question is for our pilot, for Tom. Is how fast do you want to travel to Winter's Outpost? How high do you want to be? And whereabouts approximately do you want to land?
Well, I think that I would go at a fairly good pace. Not completely like cruising speed. I'm looking at cruising speed.
Okay, great. Cruising speed, good.
I want to be around, I want to say 500 feet above the treetops while we're moving.
Okay. All right, great. And finally, here's the big question: whereabouts do you want to land?
Well, I'm going to give this to the group.
Sure.
Do we want to stay concealed or not?
Oh boy.
Squee, Piph?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Because if not, I would just land on this hill right here, right outside of the town.
And if you do, of course, on the other side of that hill is still that big flattened.
Yeah, we might want to use the same flattened area.
I agree. Let's just use the same impromptu LZ.
And interestingly enough, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm not so opposed to keeping this. Like it's not so much. I mind if they see it or not, especially like if they see it and now they see Manzel has been converted. That might be very interesting. Manzan, sorry, but I'm with Piph. If nothing else, for simple sake of not making huge noises and destroying more trees, we already have one. Let's just keep using it.
What are these crop circles and what do they mean?
So okay, so nice. So this is what I'm going to do. Stop me if you want to change things up. So first, I'm going to just generally describe the journey there, okay? And then I'm going to slip into a conversation in which Manzan will answer Patrick's questions. And that will emulate the conversation that they have on the short flight over and the walk from the landing zone back to the village. Make sense?
Yes.
Great. So is there anything, before we get into those two tiers of description and conversation, is there anything particular Al wants to do at this point?
Al is going to try and stay as silent as possible because this guy has heard him talking, even if he tried to use a different voice. So he will talk as little as necessary.
Okay, well, he'll be engaged with Patrick for most of this time. So I'll let you know if you're in fear of needing to talk very much.
I will
That's
say,
good to know. Mhm.
I will say that when he asks if Patrick would like him to explain the how they reproduce, Al would knowingly roll his eyes, but other than that, no, he's fine.
Okay. Things I never thought
Yeah.
I'd have.
Like how,
All right. All right.
like
Oh, wait, but first the description of the journey. Okay. I described before when you first arrived at when Tom and Al arrived towards Winter's Outpost that the sun was setting, and it has not been all that long since that occasion. In fact, only maybe a matter of about 10-15 minutes. So the sun is still setting in the sky a little bit lower. The colors are a little bit more brighter, but you're still able to see everything relatively well. The journey at cruising speed gets to Winter's Outpost, and more specifically to that original landing zone, within a minute or two. Maybe not even that. In fact, landing and taking off almost take more time than the actual jaunt there. You land. My only other question then is, before I go with the conversation with Manzan, it's just so that isn't always interrupted by what's going on, is when you depart the Rhapsody, which NPCs do you want to take with you? And right now Mila's an NPC, considered one. And more particularly, what vehicles or armor are you going to take with you?
Well, are any of the L-Zone Prime people mechanics?
No.
None of
Their
them.
engineer
Got
died.
them.
Cracking open the reactor.
Yeah. I reckon we should leave a few people to help guard the robot while it's doing its repairs. But other than that, I mean, if you guys think we should leave all of the L-Zone Prime people behind, we could do that. We can take
Al
them
would
all.
Al would suggest leaving them all behind because they have been through a lot and they need to rest.
But they feel they're going to explain that they feel a lot safer on the Rhapsody.
Exactly, yeah. And like I said, from a doctor's standpoint, I mean, God knows how long these guys have been on the run. They need to rest.
Yeah.
So
They could probably rest a lot easier in our cargo bay.
If you want, then Mila and Bear could maybe stay and look after the behemoth and the repair robot. Make sure there's anyone there. You'll be within radio range.
yes, only if Bear is also there to keep Mila from distracting said robot.
Yes, I like
Which is
that.
why the pair. That's
Yeah.
why the pair of them is necessary. Bear to keep Mila straight, and Mila because if they're under actual significant problems, Nora might show up and kick some serious fucking ass.
Yeah.
So the only question then is with Mila, Nora, whomever, while they're protecting the behemoth, should Mila be in body armor or should she take maybe a suit of power armor with her? What do you think? I'm only asking you because you guys are the players. Yeah.
Sure, she likes the terrain hopper, so
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that too. The terrain hopper.
Reappropriate her Power Ranger armor. Her
yeah,
purple
the
Power Ranger armor. She'll
armor
probably
and
be very
her
happy about that.
and her Thor hammer. So
Yes, Mila will complain a little bit that the smell inside the Power Ranger, her Power Ranger armor, doesn't seem right. But other than that, she's fine. She's happy as can be. Okay, that's great. That's really good to know. And of course, Baron is in his usual getup. Partial mega damage armor, his swords, a ranged weapon, and his senses. Okay, great. So all the L-Zone Prime people are on the Rhapsody. They're going to stay upon the Rhapsody as Manzeg is returned back to Winter's Outpost. So when you guys leave the landing zone in between those two hills and make the physical journey from the Rhapsody to Winter's Outpost, what do you guys, the active PCs, want to take with you? And do you want to take Blink or Alicia with you, or August? Or do you want some NPCs to stay with the L-Zone Prime remnant?
You know what? We haven't had a combat with Alicia for a while.
August stay behind unless he wants to go. I don't imagine he would, but he can obviously stay behind. As far as I'm concerned, I'd almost just be like, Alicia, do you want to stretch your legs, or are you good here? Because she's been on the ship the whole time. I'd just kind of, I know it's an NPC thing, but I would just ask her,
Sure.
"Do I come?"
Yeah, if you need me, I'll come, she says. I mean, it's a fucked up situation, but that's almost kind of standard for us now. Yeah, I'll come.
Okay.
So then do you want... August will definitely stay on the ship. In fact, he'll maintain the communication since there's going to be multiple parties. Baron, Mila out by the damaged behemoth, the Rhapsody, of course, and your party that's going to be leaving, right? And need someone to monitor the channels and make sure no one's trying to listen in on them.
Byrne, would you be okay if Blink stayed behind with the L-Zone Prime since they know her best?
Sure. I would leave it up to her though.
Blink does like that idea. She hasn't seen a lot of these people in quite some time. She's known them for years. And if anyone is to ensure their safety of the Rhapsody and themselves, she'd gladly do that task.
Okay.
So with that all sorted, as far as who's going where, the question is just, guys, what are you guys going to take with you?
After we land and all of that, I would be very, very interested in trying to find, because unless I could grab it before we took off, I'm not going to have access to my heavy network armor. I would
Why not?
Because it's in the behemoth.
Oh, well, it can be run and fetched. That's just in the narrative sense, so I'm not going to punish you for that. You can have the heavy network armor with you.
Sure, let's do that then. Because otherwise I was going to say, yeah, I'll just take my modified gladiator armor. But if I can
take whatever armor you want. You'd have access to, whether it's on board the behemoth or on the Rhapsody. There would have been time to fetch it. Okay. So that's Burn. Like I said, you don't have to worry about the miscellaneous stuff. That's fine. The little minor magic items or whatever. We'll play fairness with that, right?
Yeah.
It's really just armor and power armor.
Yeah, I should outline my weapons. Should I?
Sure. Or no, you don't need to. We don't need to waste it. I trust you. Just keep that in mind in your head, and I'll trust you. It's all good. Okay. I know you guys aren't going to exploit this. We're fine. It's really just armor, power armor, and vehicles, right? So I know what to describe and how fast you guys are going and all that good stuff. Right. So, Patrick Al?
I'll take the light body armor, and then pretty much the same package I took last time, like you said, with one exception. I have 4 vibro knives. I might as well start carrying them. So other than that, everything that I've been pretty much taking with me.
Okay. So your light body armor, great. Alicia is going to wear, she herself got a suit of heavy network armor during the Mars mission. So she'll be putting that on. She'll also be taking her Triax rifle that you got her as a gift those many months ago. Plus, sidearm, a few other things. And Piph for Patrick.
So he's taking heavy, the heavy, what she's wearing basically. Um,
The heavy network armor, body armor. Yep.
um, and he's most likely going to be taking the vehicle as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Mars. Mars.
The rover.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So, for the sake of simplicity, as far as explaining this conversation, it would be fair to say that Alicia and Manzan, at the very least, are in the Mars rover. All of you can fit, actually, so that might just be easiest.
Sure. Mars rover.
Okay, great. So, now that we have all that, you all assemble your weapons and armor. That takes a few minutes, of course, to put it on and get everything sorted. You all pile into the Mars rover, and as its strange synthetic tires roll over the broken pieces of wood, pulverized for a second time due to the Rhapsody's landing, you begin to guide the rover a little bit slowly, carefully through the relatively dense forest, over the hill, under the hill, and approaching Winter's Outpost. And as you do so, of course, as Patrick does so, continue to strike up this conversation with Manzan. So if it's okay with you, we'll get into a more conversational tone, starting on board the Rhapsody before it takes off, ending just before you enter the village. Okie dokie. And I see that, Tom. All right. So, Manzan, kind of for the first time, looks away from Patrick and almost down to the ground for a moment. And you see the very, very tips of those horned protrusions, forming crowned over his head. The very, very tips begin to turn a very, very slight black. As Manzan replies, well, very well. I am a Daini, and if I were to have a partner, a mate in which to reproduce with, that would be a Daini. Dainis have inside of them a special form of blood that crystallizes and hardens. It is separate, kept in a separate, I suppose you could say, sack. A separate sack apart from our own blood. And unfortunately, if some of that crystalline blood was to get into our blood system, if the sac was to be pierced or some sort of medical distress, then that creates a serious bouts of sickness, and after a long period of time, a Daini could die. I have such a orifice, such a organ, such a type of blood. Daini. Wait. Give me a moment. Yes, he said he's a Daini. A Daini, the other gender, the other sex, they... how can I explain this? Do you know small stones? Small pebbles. It's almost like that. It's stored in, and he kind of points to these lower kind of cracky crevice areas around his lower body, which actually takes up a good chunk of his body. When a Daini is appropriately aroused, our crevices begin to spawn these small black orbs, similar to pebbles, very gray, very smooth, and more importantly, very, very cool. These stones, I'll say for lack of a better word, must quickly be removed, for if they are not, then our own body temperature will cause them to crack and break. Once the Dayin E is also aroused, his areas, and he points to the crevices on the bottom of his body, begin to leak this crystalline blood. And due to certain rituals, which I'm not going to go into because frankly it's none of your business, the stones and the crystallized blood do meet, and that is when the Dayin begin to form, gestate, I suppose you could say. We keep these fertilized areas damn it, Patrick, to a special place where we try to keep the temperatures as cool and relaxing as possible. And after a period of 11 months, the small die-in begins to form from what was created, and before you know it, after about 2 years, they can sustain themselves and feed themselves, and that is how we reproduce. And you can see, as he's been explaining this entire thing, he looks away from you from time to time. He gets very awkward when he points to like the little crevices on his body, and the little tips on the back of his kind of head horns. By the end of it, his entire horn turns complete. Like all the horns around his head turn like a jet black.
Patrick will note all of this, as well as blushing is equal to horn colors.
Great. As you begin to get towards the Mars rover and come on, Manzen will say, "Please don't ask me any more questions about that."
Patrick will say,
Does Tom say that out loud?
No,
Alright.
that was out of character.
Oh, okay. All right. Because Manzen would probably have something to say about how humans reproduce and how disgusting that is. All right.
Patrick will say you've been very helpful, and thank you for your information.
Yes. Well, I have to say, when I took my evening walk to preach Rena's words, I did not expect this. Unless you don't have any other questions for him, he's not. Eventually, the horns on his head once again return to its tanned light brown color. But if you like, we can move on to the next scene, which is arriving back at Winter's Outpost.
Actually, now that I think about it, Al would, something would occur to him.
Sure.
And knowing that he has already spoken to this guy as someone else, he would start talking in a very, in his point of view, breathy elf voice.
Roll me a D100, please.
Sure. Hang on, I have one of those here somewhere.
Okay. Please continue.
And he would say, "Before you go home, I was hoping you might do me a favor."
Manzan turns around the seat to look at you and say, "It depends on what it is, but considering the circumstances, I'm not in a favorable mood, considering how I was abducted.
If you choose to say no, I, of course, will respect that. I was hoping you would allow me to record down the full words of the vision you preached.
It is not my vision. It is Rena's vision. It is not my words. It is Rena's words.
I did not mean to offend.
Your spirit says that the words are false. Why do you want to hear them again?
Al would pause for a moment and he would say, knowing something is untrue does not mean that we cannot learn much about those who spoke it. Words have power, truth or not.
False. Manzig says power is power. And the strongest, whether it by intellect or wisdom or pure strength or tactics, they are the bringers of the truth. Is it fair to assume that once you find Rena, things could go poorly for either side?
It would not be my wish, but it is always possible.
Uh-huh. Well, considering your words and my, Rena's words, are opposed to each other, I imagine the winner of that engagement will be the true truth. So until then, fine.
And he'll recite them again. And I'll recite them again if that works for you, if you want to or not.
Sure, and Al will write it down in the same place where he wrote down the first one, or same book, same notebook or whatnot.
Manzan closes his eyes, and much different than when you saw him initially screaming and preaching in the village, very animated, waving his cudgel around, projecting very loudly, making a real performance of this. He turns around in his seat and he closes his eyes and he bends his head a little bit and he says this in a more even tone, almost as if a pupil is remembering, a multiplication table. He says, 7 blessings embrace the earth. Join us now and prove your worth. For curses befall the human race, and when they die, we'll take their place. The first arrives in bright blue flame, gibbering madly, all they shall maim, lest blackened skulls kissed by fire be laid at their feet. Allies we'll acquire. Swarm won't stop. The swarm won't end. Our entire fate relies on this portend. The second blessing robs all mouths. The third brings fever, bile, and pox. The fourth brings war, east, west, north, south. The fifth, life itself it shall mock. Across the sea they shall roam, but joined together they make new homes for those with wits and guts and gall. Humanity's end will not be our downfall. Ancient 6, wonders does it know, and we can help its power grow. By letting it play its artful game, the earth itself it shall claim. At this point, Manzek's voice gets very, very low, in a whisper, and if it wasn't for the enclosed environment of the rover and the fact that it's going so slow, and the fact that the sound, the way it's been engineered, dampened sounds around it, you would have a hard time hearing it, but thankfully you do not, he says. Darkest pit, deepest mine, the final blessing, infernal divine, in pitch blackness song sung on high. Take us, teach us, we shall cry. A horrid death man cannot flee, and in the end we shall be free.
7 blessings embrace the earth. Join us now and prove your worth. For curses befall the human race, and when they die, we shall take their place. There's a few moments of pause before Manzeg says, words coming straight from Rena's mouth. And for those who believed her the first, she granted them similar visions. For my devotion to her, for my unwavering faith, and my determination to do what must be done, I've seen the blackened skulls. They are not the skulls of us. They are the skulls that resemble the shape of the ones of you all around me. Doomed.
Al will quietly finish writing, and he will say nothing. Kind of creeped out.
Okay. May I continue the next scene when you arrive at Winter's Outpost?
Sure.
Sure.
So,
Sorry. Yes.
okay. So the vehicle approaches Winter's Outpost. The sun is still setting. Brighter colors as it dips just a little bit longer. And it casts the clay-stoned village in a soft orange light. A few Dayin are in the streets as they see the rover break through the vegetation and stop just outside the village. And some of them move, talk amongst themselves, and it's clear that one of them are moving to one of the houses located to the south of the village, but they stop when they see one of their own, when they see Manzan emerge from the vehicle with you. The few that are in the streets begin to whisper a bit more, as you can see that even though the Dayin are a very strange species, that gossip seems to travel the same way. And as Manzan speaks to you outside the craft, slowly and slowly, more Dayin emerge from their homes, talk amongst themselves, but none of them are bold enough to approach your small group, at least in the few minutes that involve this conversation. As Manzan steps out, with assumedly the rest of you, unless you change it otherwise, he'll look to you and say, I am going to go to my parents' home now, if you permit it. But before then, I suppose I should tell you what I know. You want to know where Arena's encampment is, where her and her children stay and live. I walk here 3 times a day, and I'm young and spry, but I cannot walk for hours at a time. The encampment is a mere mile and a half away, to the northeast. You'll find a small hill. Once you climb and descend into the valley below, you will see our small encampment.
Patrick will say, I wish you well on these times.
Manzan looks to you, and for the first time, his cold, hard tan eyes soften, and he says, it is you and your kind that should receive all the help they should get. He'll pause for a moment,
giving you guys an opportunity to ask any other follow-up questions.
Al will wisely hold his tongue more than he already has. So.
I think I'm good.
Yes. Patrick will, not knowing the correct gesture, will probably just wave goodbye, and will start up his vehicle and travel back.
Okay. As you all return to the vehicle or whatnot, you can see Manzan walk down the dirt road, off to the center of the large circular meeting building. You can see a small squat hut, one of many, along the north side of that building. And you see actually two other Dayin emerge from there, and you can see Manzan approach them. You don't see much else in regards to that, since you already are in the vehicles. It doesn't take very long. And my question to you, of course, is what do you want to do next?
Well, we can talk freely now, during the travel back.
To the Rhapsody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Rhapsody is pretty much on our way back. Even if we would have head the direction he said, right?
No.
Uh-oh.
Well, no. So I'll use this. We'll just use this rough outline of Winter's Outpost. All right. The Rhapsody is on the other side of this hill. Right.
Got it.
Where he's described is going this way.
Oh. What time of day is it?
It is it's probably around 7:30. It's getting close to evening. Your experience with outdoor travel, I won't even bother having you guys roll on land navigation or similar checks. I'll just tell you, because it's very simple. You probably have about 40 minutes of light left.
All right. Knowing that he said that they plan on burning these people at night, we don't have much time. Though I'm not saying that we need to just rush off in this ATV. We need to come up with a quick plan of action.
What we need to do is find the village and crash our airship into it.
Land there.
So remember,
the
like a
plan.
week or two ago when we were talking about rolling up new characters?
Yeah.
I guess that was appropriate for this kind of action.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's been fun, guys. It's been a year and a half, I think.
What are you talking about? Vision.
Actually, I was gonna say it's like I thought you were talking about us landing the ship on the village. It's like I'd be much more worried about them than us.
No, I heard ramming the village. and
Yeah, I actually
immediately-
to have it sideways and have the edge of it go into the land like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Can we have
That's
unless
why
this
in
is
my
an
head-
actual tactic, how about we focus on actual tactics? Unless this is one of them.
So here would be the question: do we want to go back to the Rhapsody and bring the whole Rhapsody, or do we want to just move on as quickly as possible?
That is a good question. So we're saving 2 people. Do we have room to move 2 people?
2 people?
I thought 4 people.
4 people. Do we have
You're
room to
correct.
save 4 people?
Then we probably need to bring the Rhapsody. I don't think we have room for 4 people in the ATV.
Or the second rover?
Yeah.
Or the second rover, yeah. Can anyone pilot the second rover? What piloting skills for that rover? Is that
Well,
ATV is an actual
it's
piloting
ATV.
skill, right?
The same thing, ATV. Yeah, Alicia knows how to drive it.
Because I have automobile, but that's different.
Mm-hmm.
We could do that, or we could bring the whole Rhapsody. But even if we bring the whole Rhapsody, I mean, we're gonna have to land it, and I like the idea of bringing it for shock effect because it's nice to have big guns, even if that doesn't have the appearance of big guns. I don't know. I'm kind of gonna leave this up to you guys. We could do either.
We don't have enough to take the people unless, can Blink pilot the second ATV?
No, Alicia can.
Alicia can.
Yeah,
I
but
said that.
right. Yeah, if she can. Yeah, let's pick up the second ATV.
Yeah. I think the only real question is, do we want to use the ship as a intimidation device, or are we good with what we got?
I'm good with what we got. Piph?
Yeah, I am also pretty good with what we have without ship. I was only suggesting it mainly because of room and things like that, but since we got two, I mean, absolutely.
Sure. So we read back to the Rhapsody, have Alicia and I guess two of us, like maybe Alicia and Al or Alicia and Tom, hop in one, and then Patrick and the other stay in the other.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, we should probably
you-
say to the other people that are with us that the team we're going on a rescue mission to save your people. Does anybody want to come? I'm sure somebody does. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, yes. I am all for that. Al would be hesitant because, as a doctor, he wants them to rest. But if he were in their shoes, I think he would appreciate if someone would at least give him the chance.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Tom
I'm
will
okay
just
with this.
say, you guys don't need to. Don't push yourselves. But if you want to, I think we have enough room.
I'll see. How many people can fit in an ATV?
6.
6. We need 4. So we have room for what?
4.
8 people total, which is Piph, Alicia, Byrne, Al, 4 more people. Yep.
Yeah.
So 2 people. No.
Wait. No.
I'm so confused.
All right.
6 and 6 is 12. Oh yeah, so it's 4
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
So 4
Yeah,
people,
four
Okay.
people that can come with us if they need.
if they want. Yeah.
Well, Louis and Ivy Tai Fang are definitely gonna go. I mean, you said it is their people. They were the ones in charge during all this, and as long as they can still use the armor and weapons that they borrowed from you, they can definitely go along. If they'll have
Sure.
adequate protection.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna start charging you interest. So yes, they can keep using them.
Okay, and then there's one other volunteer, a fellow. Whoop! Give me a moment. Gotta look him up. As I get bleeped. Gosh darn it. Sorry. Oh, it's just stupid. Okay, a fellow named Tucker Vincent. He is probably the biggest out of all the L Zone Prime fellows. He's a good 6'3". Oh, he's easily about 220 pounds. And he was the one who has been wielding and using the railgun that was on the Behemoth. And he can actually... you need considerable strength in order to haul that thing without a tripod. Well, it has a tripod, but you know what I mean, like haul it. It's like a very, very, very heavy machine gun. Those who are military trained can probably appreciate that. And once again, as long as he's able to use that gun, that rail gun, and the gladiator armor that he had been wearing, or probably is still wearing, he's going to come along too.
Oh, gee, do we want to forego massive firepower? No, I think we'll suffer with it and let him come.
Suffer with
Okay.
it. Oh God.
Yes.
Great, Tucker. All
Always
right.
looking at his guns. Typical Squee.
All right, so everyone loads into the Rhapsody. It takes about 10 minutes to get back to the Rhapsody and get everyone loaded up after that quick conversation. Ivy, Louie, Tai Fang, and Tucker are all... they already still have the armor on. It's been one heck of a day for them already, so they just need to grab their weapons and they're ready to go. They all load up.
Okay.
And it is Ivy
who speaks up before you depart. She says, "Okay, what's the plan?"
Well, I honestly don't think we're going to be able to convince all of them like we did that first one.
You convinced him?
Yeah, well, we convinced him that he had no interest in being on either side and just wanted to go home, which is a win in my book.
Louis and Ivy exchange glances, and Louis says, "Okay, well, you got us out of the situation, so if you think that's the best call, then we can live with that, sure."
Yeah. Well, my plan, from my point of view, is I am going to try and see if they have a fire going, because they have to, blacken the skulls, yada yada yada.
Yada, yada, yada. Louis says, "You mean kill our friends? Is that what you mean by yada,
we're
yada,
going
yada?"
to prevent
Ivy,
that.
and Ivy kind of gives him a bit of a nudge with her elbow, and he shuts up.
What I was going to say is, when I get close enough, I'm going to try to extinguish it.
All right. Then what? We lay out an ambush?
Hard to ambush an entire village or encampment. It
Well, I
might.
managed to ambush you, Tucker says.
I'm not a village or encampment. Al says very slow, very, like...
No, you're probably
Obviously.
stronger than him. I mean, I don't know a village and encampment that has a fucking ship, boss.
We aren't taking the ship. We're taking 2 ATVs.
Wait, we're not taking the ship? Ivy asks, stunned.
Where would we land it?
Who needs to land it?
Al's quiet for a moment.
Tom is quiet for a moment.
Patrick will go, "Oh yeah, we would probably need to land it to pick up our friends. Your friends, excuse me."
Theoretically, we wouldn't. We could still exfiltrate the people in the ATVs, but at that point, the ship's not going to be much use to us.
Yeah, and we have both pilots right here. Tom's gonna point to himself and then point to Alicia.
Okay. Ivy and Louie and Tucker kind of look at each other again. They say, "All right, so you don't want to take the ship because you want to surprise them, right?"
Partially. That's part of it. The other part is it would take time to get the ship up in the air and going, and all it would give us in benefit if combat is one railgun.
Okay, so we get to the village. Tom gets rid of the fire. Then what? Then we make sure our people are safe. Do we attack these fuckers? What do we do?
Working on that. We could try a shock and awe attack. Just drive straight into the encampment as fast as we can. Try and encircle the people we need to save. Get them in the ATV and hightail it out of there. We're probably faster than them in the ATVs. Though it would be helpful if we had some intel on where exactly they're being located so we know exactly where to drive.
Which we don't have.
That's a good idea. Okay, the plan would be a faux assault, gunfire, drive-bys, not actual ones. This is very important. If we want to actually surprise them, they do have a seer on their side. If any of them are in actual danger, they would have been warned. We have similar things. So shooting at the ground around them, or with ammunition that would not harm them, would probably be best. A quick surveillance would be best, and then a tactical swoop and grab.
If you need surveillance, Louis says, drop Ivy and I off a little ways before we hit the village. We'll scout it out. The
Okay.
radios and these things still work. We'll let you know what we see.
All right. You try and get us any information on where they're being kept. We distract them, drive in there like all hell, throw some smoke down to obscure us, get everyone in the ATV, and get out of there.
What are we sitting around here for? Tucker asks. Sounds good enough to me.
Patrick's like, I like this guy.
With that, Al would probably get in the ATV with Alicia.
Okay. Ivy and Louis will get into that ATV, and then Tucker, Tucker, Tom, and Patrick will be in the other. Okay, so I can move if this is the general plan. I'll move the scene along if that works for you guys. Unless you have any last little things you want to go over.
I think Al would say over the radio. He would just make sure he'd say, "Now I know a lot of you guys have understandable reasons to be very angry at these people, and if they attack us, by all means, we attack right back. But our goal is to save those captured and get out of there. We don't need to waste time fighting those we don't need to. Everyone clear?"
You hear clear from Tucker. You hear Ivy say behind you in the seat, "Yeah, that's fine." And after a few moments, Louis replies, "Yeah, priorities."
Al stares with a sarcastic grin at Alicia.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, sure, Al. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. Okay. So you guide the rovers from the Rhapsody just outside the outskirts of Winter's outpost. And along the direction that Manzad pointed you to, sure enough, not very far away from the edge of the village is a small hill, which you roll in between. The vegetation is still quite heavy, able to cover your problems, cover you no problem. And as you hit the crest of the hill, that's when Tom can sense the flame. However, I don't know if it's outlined in the actual description or not, but I'm going to color it this way. That you can probably feel the intensity of the fire. Back when we first started our adventures, Tom could feel the incredible intensity of the ever-burning forest. And in this, he can feel flames, but they're low. Some of them are just still, what's the word? Almost getting burnt down to the coal, you know? You can feel about 6 smaller fires and 1 larger one, but even the larger fire, you know it's not burning intensely. It's weak. And you're able to figure out the exact direction. I believe your range is half a mile, correct?
At level 10...
I think it's 1,800 feet or something like that. Which is a little under half a mile.
It's 1,800.
Yeah, it's about 1,200 feet directly to your north.
Mm-hmm.
It's at this point, perhaps, leave it up to you, but just getting over the crest of the hill, Ivy and Louis say that this is a good place to drop them off. They'll run up ahead and see what they can scout out. They'll keep low and keep quiet. Do you guys agree with this idea, or do you want to hold off?
I personally agree. How about
I
you
agree.
two?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So sure enough, they depart. They step a few steps away, and you, inside the vehicle, you can't really hear them, but you can see them having a bit of conversation with each other outside radio comms. Ivy brings a hand
to press against her brother's chest, kind of give it a little bit of a fist, tap with it on his chest. They both nod to each other, and they depart in separate directions, one going to the northeast a little bit, one going to the northwest a little bit. And after a few moments, they disappear within the vegetation. Yes, Patrick?
I would definitely like to inform them about the freaky creature's enhanced senses, like sight and hearing.
Okay. You can tell them on the radio, and both of them give a Roger and an affirmative to that.
Alright. Cool.
Yeah, no, they'll get careful. Now, do you guys want to stay up here in this current location till you hear this intel report, or do you want to do some stuff on your own?
I think the only thing that Tom would be interested in was just monitoring the fires, trying to tell whether it's spreading, natural, or accidental, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'll let you know as the few minutes pass. Yeah.
No, I think we'd wait for them. Yeah. Other
Okay.
than that.
Okay. Tom, it takes a few minutes, about a little under 10, and during this time, Tom, as you monitor these flames, just a friendly reminder to mark off any used ISP, is that you can feel that they are definitely not natural fires. They are man-made. They are not spreading. And in those few minutes, they've actually gotten a little bit weaker.
Gotcha.
Soon you hear the radio of Ivy. She says, "In position. I see, it looks like they've been making some sort of dirt structures or something like that. I'm seeing a few campfires. I don't see any movement. You there, Louie?" Yeah. I'm on the western edge. Just being real careful. Gotta watch where I step. Oh, I think I see something. Yeah. No movement, though. See anything else, Ivy? No. It's quiet. It's really quiet. Suffice to say, Ivy and Louis report that this encampment appears to have only one person on it that's visible. There seems to be some strange dirt huts or dirt homes in a circular ring, and in the center is what appears to be the remnants of a large fire. At least it was a large fire. Instead, it is just it's flickering. It's very, very dim. They don't see any evidence of any people around, as in like human beings, people from the L Zone Prime. And they see what looks to be heading to the northwest a significant amount of traffic that has been made. But they can confirm there is one die-in DB sitting by the fire. He's not wearing any armor, but he does have a pistol in his hand, and he's staring at the fire. From time to time he looks around. Looks like he's waiting for something. And it doesn't look like he's noticed either Ivy or Louis. They ask what they want you to do next.
What kind of pistol?
Hard to tell, but it looks sleek and black. I bet you it's a Wilkes. Probably a laser.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Al, it stands to reason that they would have all of the prisoners at the same place, correct?
One would think, yes.
Well, it would blow our cover, but we know the names of these people that they have, right?
You do.
What if you were to send a pigeon, if you could, Patrick? We would know exactly where they are, or that person at least. We could storm.
Well, from my understanding, unless we can actually follow the pigeon, it won't actually tell us where they are.
It goes. It doesn't tell you where it'll go. It goes up to 60 miles per hour.
Yeah. But we would be able to watch it fly into one of the huts, right?
If they're here. If not, it is an interesting idea if we can determine if they're here somewhere or with the traffic up ahead, or if with neither. But I know that spell takes a lot, and I don't know, Patrick, how you feeling, bud?
Patrick will really say, I'm not a pigeon producer, and I've done a lot today.
Yeah.
I know.
It's hard
So
to think within, like, what, 15 hours ago we were still in goddamn space.
Less than that. It's only been about 12 hours, if you can believe it.
Oh, 12 hours.
All right, we need to focus. I'm sorry, the names of the two scouts?
Ivy and Louie.
Ivy and Louie. Ivy, Louie, do either of you have anything that can telescopic lenses or the ability to see close up?
We got our binocs, yeah.
This is kind of a grim request, but an important one. Can you get a really close look at that fire? See if there's any sort of remains.
Okay. Give me a moment. We've been scanning around the area, looking for other movement. Ivy replies, let me just get into a different position. Few more minutes pass till you finally hear a whisper on the radio. I'm here. I got a good bead on the fire. I can see that ugly motherfucker too, but nope. I don't see any human remains. No clothes, no bone. Nothing on the fire. It's just wooden cinders.
Well, that's a positive. So do we just bypass this guy and go for the traffic? I don't know how much good it'll do us to engage him in any way. Either we'll kill him, and even if we capture him, we don't have the time to try and make him tell us anything.
Oh, this has been bothering me.
What's up?
Why does one man stand in an empty... or sit in an empty camp?
Well, there's several things it could be. A lookout, someone left behind as a rear guard to give warning in case they see someone, or he's waiting for someone in particular, or he's been cast out from the group. Any
Or
of those
he's-
are likely.
Or he's just been tasked to make the fire. And nobody else wanted to do it.
Well, but if he's tasked with making the fire, didn't you say it's getting weaker?
Yes, he's burning it down to coals. I could... Perhaps if there's still flame there, I could super fuel it.
To what effect?
Make it leap back to life.
I mean, but why?
It'd delay him.
I'm
'Cause
confused.
They need coals, right? To blacken the skulls.
Well, they could just throw it in a fire and you'd get the same effect.
I don't know.
If they are... Al kind of stops for a second. If they intend to burn them, they're going to need more than just coals.
I know, but this... It makes no sense for him to watch a dying fire for no reason.
As the others said, it looks like he's more intent on what's around him than what's in front of him, meaning that he's waiting for someone, or possibly waiting for someone who might come or will come.
Okay.
Or he was cast out, as I said. But without more information, all of those are equally likely.
Okay.
My best
So
guess,
how are we gonna get more information?
if this is an offensive, I'm assuming that he's more of a watchman, someone who would alert others.
How far around would we have to go to drive past him unawares?
Alicia shrugs.
Well, we can assume from driving around the city that they have a distinct range of sight and hearing. Though, in such a person trying to be aware, we would probably have to extend that.
Right. You know what I suggest, and this sounds a bit odd. We can very quickly find out what he's here for. If he's here to raise the alarm, I doubt we're getting past him very quickly without him raising it. If he's here for another reason, we could just drive right up to him. If he attacks or cries out, we drive right past him. That laser pistol isn't going to be very effective against these ATVs. And if he's attacking us, we just ignore him and continue on. If he's meant to deliver a message or something else, he'll do something besides attack us.
Tom, can you tell how long this fire was burning for?
1 second as I check something.
Check it. If you don't mind.
Tom, 1 second as I think to myself.
Yeah, I can.
What a
know how long
wonderful world.
Yeah, I can know as long how long it's been burning. Minutes, hours, and days.
It's been burning for hours.
So we took Manzan. How long ago?
God, hey, you're asking me. God, I'm not actually God. I just play one on TV. Let's see. Let me just quickly think. Putting in your travel time, Manze, traveling, talking with them, just under half an hour.
So it was 2 hours since he left the village. And I'm assuming that they didn't up and leave without giving information. The people that we scared with the spaceship was not too long before that. Could have been that they warned them about the ship, and they've moved. Maybe even hiding right now for the big assault on the whatever they may call our ship. What could a possibility be? Moving, one person not wanting to come.
Can I have an NPC ask a question here?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Alicia says, should we radio Mila and Bear then? And the Rhapsody?
The traffic that the scouts saw, what direction was the traffic?
To the northwest.
And
The behemoth is to the southeast.
So the complete
Quite a way
opposite
south. Mm-hmm.
well, I think that radioing them is fine, but knowing Bear, he'll be as alert as he can be with or without the radio contact. The problem is we could guess all night. We just don't have enough information. we have to either ignore this guy and move on to the traffic, or stop and check the huts.
Essentially, shit or get off the pot. Choose. Essentially.
Yes, a rather vulgar metaphor, Tom, but
Alicia smirks. I always prefer a good shit.
that's nice to know.
Shit it shall be
It's a
then.
metaphor, you stupid. And she bats you on the helmet a little bit before she looks forward and focuses again.
Yeah, my teacher had a lot of metaphors.
Oh, that he did. All right, let's go. Hell, if nothing else, let's drive in there, see what this guy does.
We should probably inform the other two of our actions.
Yeah, Al will get on the radio. All right. We need to figure out why he's there. We're going to drive in, make a scene, see what happens. You guys stand by. We're ready to offer long-range support if we need it. If not, we're going to pick you up and keep going.
Roger. We'll keep an eye out, especially for any movement heading towards coming in from the north.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he'll look at Alicia. Let's take a shit.
And she looks at you, and as she puts the rover back in gear, she's just like, you don't know how to use metaphors. And then she'll begin to drive. Although the question is who has the lead vehicle? Patrick or Alicia?
I think Patrick might actually have the initiative on this one.
Okay, great. So then my only other question is since this area it's lightening up as far as density goes, but there's still quite a few trees and vegetation and bushes and whatnot. Do you really want to hightail it, or do you want to just take a good steady pace towards the village? Gun it, or do you want to ease off the gas?
I want to ease off the gas.
Okay, great. So doing so will not require any sort of special piling check. And it only takes a few minutes to navigate through the wear. As you...
I was going to say, Al would say, as they could start driving to Alicia, I would say, in my defense, I grew up in the Coalition.
That's not a defense. Stupid. She
No.
says it. She gets you away.
Al will say, you don't know the Coalition like I do.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. She said, I've had enough
Metaphor-
close calls with all.
Metaphors are not exactly their forte.
Really? She just smiles and shakes her head. She could say a few more things about Nathan, but she won't.
Tom is
Suffice-
going to say over the radio, kind of absentmindedly, mental note, do not introduce Al to more metaphors.
Am I good to continue? You guys can have a little bit of it.
that was-
Okay. No, all right. Okay. So as you approach this collection of mud or dirt homes, you find a breach in between two of them to approach this center area with the fire. And as you approach, when you get about 3 to 4, well, no, I'm not going to be specific. I am going to be specific. When you get about 340 feet away, both Ivy and Louie give you a heads up that this thing appears to be alert at your presence. It stands up. She said it's standing up. It's facing your direction, but its weapon's still at its side. As you get about 200 feet away, you can see it bend down, and you can see it have a bit of a radio in its hand, but it's placed the gun down onto the nearby bench that he was on. Underneath the bench, he kind of picks up the radio, and he's no longer armed. He brings the radio to his head, and he mumbles a few words, and then he drops the radio down a little bit, and then he simply stands there by the fire, stares as you guys approach. You guys can get, how close do you guys want to get before you stop?
Al's going to say, Alicia, circle around. He may be in ambush.
Inside or outside the huts?
Stay on the outside, Patrick. You continue as planned. At least that way, if it is an ambush, we'll have people on both sides.
All right, it's gonna be bumpy, Alicia says, but she begins to start to circle. Patrick, how close do you want to get?
Oh, I don't want to run him over, but fairly close.
So like 30 feet?
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, like 40 feet.
Okay, 40 feet away. So you get as Al and Alicia's ATV begins to circle around. You don't hear anything from Ivy and Louie just yet. Tucker, Tom, and Patrick, move towards this creature that's standing and waiting for them. They stop 40 feet, and its eyes are, although he casts a few glances at the circling ATV, most of his attention is on the one that is now parked squarely in front of him. You guys are standing in the ATV, staring out at this thing. The dim orange light, now turning to a red light of the setting sun, coats across this creature's body, casting long shadows of the mud huts and making his tan-colored skin a much more burnished, almost like a bloody color in the light. As he stares at you, he doesn't say anything just yet, and he stares at your vehicle.
So, plans?
Patrick will unbuckle and get himself out of the rover.
Okay.
Right.
Tom, what are you doing? Tom follows suit. Tucker's going to do the same thing. And as you fellows leave the vehicle, when you hear the deep voice of this Yin speak,
I am Ventix. I have been chosen because I speak your language. I am first to ask. Manzan should be back by now. My first task was to guide him back to Rena. Have you harmed him in any way?
No.
Good. Second task asked of me. You are the ones with the flying ship.
Tom's gonna look over to Patrick. Was that a question or?
Yes, that was a question. Let's just say we are close to such things.
Rena wants to speak with you. You are to follow me. I will lead you to her. You will converse, and things will be decided. You have interfered, but I have been told to tell you. Rena can grant you forgiveness.
We will follow. And Patrick will go back into the vehicle.
She already knows you have arrived. We are in a new location, but not far. Follow. Tell your spinning friends to do the same.
Patrick will go back into the car and close the door and radio in. He wants us to follow him to speak with Rena.
Oh, joy.
He's
All right.
He's requested both this and the spinning vehicle.
Well, they know we're coming, so, I mean, if we're going to come rescue those people, we're going to have to...
Yeah.
All right. We'll pick up the scouts, and we'll follow you.
Cool. And then Rena can forgive us. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean forgive us?
That's what the guy said.
For us interrupting their quest.
Well, hell, I don't know what that means, but if it means getting these people back without having to fight for them, I'm all for it. But I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. Neither am I.
Okay.
So no, I would get on the radio and call the others back into the ATV.
Okay. As Ivy and Louie break from their cover and reconvene at Al and Alicia's rover, you see the die-in front of Patrick's ATV, the one who calls himself Ventix. Look around and you can see a soft surprise as he sees these two other humans emerge, and actually none of you have good hearing. You just hear him mumble something from inside the rover, and that's about it. I'll continue on if it's okay by you guys.
Sure.
Ventix leads you by foot. He has retrieved both the radio and the laser pistol. And with surprising deftness for the creatures, most of the time they move at a slow, careful, patient, plodding pace. But it's clear if these things really want to move, they can. In fact, it is easily, since your vehicles aren't going even close to top speed due to the terrain, you're only probably going about a quarter of the speed, but still he's able to keep up very handily and lead you. You go over another series of very, very small hills until you emerge into an area that is even more densely packed. And you arrive at what appears to be the base of a hill. At the very, very top of the hill, in the distance, you can see what appears to be an old, broken, what appears to be iron gate, and a few symbols on it, crosses, in fact. And in a little bit further past the twisted iron gate, you can see what looks to be a very old stone building. Even at a glance, Patrick, you know without question that is a pre-Rift building due to its age and your architecture skill, once again, not needed to be rolled, because you know that is definitely a mausoleum. And once again, this lies at the very, very top of the crest of the hill. But what's blocking your view from this old mausoleum, from this tattered iron gate, is a collection of about 10 die-in, all standing on the crest of the hill. A few of them don't appear to have weapons on them, but about 3 of them seem to have rifles in hand. And it doesn't look like they're trying to hide in the hedges that dot the crest of this hill.
They're all staring at you. Below the hill, in between the trees and the vegetation, you can see clearly another large collection of Dai-Yin. In the center of this new collection, at the base of the hill, you see what appears to be standing stones. What appears to be a collection of 3 old large stones, very roughly triangular in shape, forming a semicircle around a very large block, a slab of stone. I'm going to move you fellows now over to another page. I'm actually going to move you over to the whiteboard. And give me a moment as I change my layers. As I change, select. There we go.
Oh boy.
And to the left of these, I'm going to say this stone formation, are 2 groups of Dai-Yin, and to the right are 2 groups of Tai-Yin. The groups at the base of this hill, by this stone formation, seem more armed, and all of them have what appears to be a strange plastic form of armor on their upper chests and their upper arms. Some of them are carrying laser rifles, some of them vibro swords, a few of them with laser pistols. Each of the groups have, standing in front of them, tired and beleaguered, exhausted, and in 2 cases, beaten members of Elzone Prime. Directly to the right of the stone formation, amidst 4 of the Dai-Yin, you recognize, you know all these folks by name, but the woman that stands in the midst of them, the middle of them, that is Rhonda, the woman who has been described as the medic, the doctor of the Elzone Prime survivors, the one of the first that were captured. She stands, she has very light strawberry blonde colored hair, and it clings to her dirt covered face. She's wearing clothes, but her shirt is tattered, and her boots look extremely worn and caked in mud. And standing above Rhonda is standing up, straight as can be, but the Dai-Yin are about 7 to 7.5 feet tall. So a foot or so above, just behind, you see what can only be Rena. She is a Dai-Yin as well. She doesn't seem to be wearing any clothes or trappings. But what distinguishes her among the rest is in the crown of horns around their skull, in between there lies a skull. A human skull, blackened and charred. It is almost completely jet black with ash, with very few small little white dots in it. As you get a little bit closer, I'll leave it up to you as to when you want to stop. All these individuals are armed, and all the guns are pointing in your direction, but it is very clear as to your experience with the ambush from the Elzone Prime, that mistaken case of friendly fire. It is clear that these Dai-Yin could have fired at you at any time, and Rena's hands are above her head. Her 3-fingered palms are faced towards you. The question is, of course, is how close do you guys want to go? Right now, from where I described this scene through the vegetation and whatnot, you're about 80 feet away.
Well, I guess maybe like last time, 40 feet or so. So close enough that we can talk without having to yell, but not right up on them.
Okay. So is it fair? So you guide the vehicles to about 40 feet until they stop. Rena, you can see in the blood red setting sun a weird half wiry smile cross her face. You can see pointed teeth peeking out and glistening in the light. All eyes are upon you and your vehicles, both Diane, Rena, and the poor victims that are in their clutches.
All right. Well, I have a question, Inferno.
Sure.
The ATVs, do they have conventional doors like we think of car doors?
The Mars rovers,
Yeah.
they are. These particular ones are vacuum sealed, but yes, they operate very similar to way modern car doors operate. Yes.
Al will get out. Like he'll open the door and he'll get out with his juice rifle. Juice rifle, the one that fires
Juice
juice. The juicer rifle.
I love juice. Sorry.
Low and at the ready behind the door, and he's gonna stand there behind the door so that it obscures a good part of his body.
Okay. The door can provide about 80% cover. If you want to stand completely behind the door, only your head will be seen and probably your upper shoulders. If you want to stand a little bit to the side of the door, where your maybe a little bit of your arm and your leg is seen, then that would provide about 70% cover.
Okay, my question for that would only be if I wanted to, or if things went bad and I chose to use the door for cover and also as support for the juicer rifle, would I have to step to the side, or would where I am be good enough? Like, is it low enough that I could do that, or?
No, the door isn't low. That's the tricky thing. You could use it as cover, no problem, right? But the way the door is formed, if you put the juicer rifle on the top of the door, it's no longer within, like, it's higher than where your eye
Got
is.
it. So if I wanted to do something like
You
that,
have
I'd be
to
doing it on the
You
side.
have to brace it on the side of the door.
Got it. Okay. So then
So
I'm
you'll
just
be about
gonna.
70% cover.
Okay, then in that case, I will do about 70% cover. Yes.
Okay, good to know. How about our other PCs? In addition, if you have any special directions for the NPCs, great. If not, I'll have them do what they think they think is best.
Piph, go.
So, Patrick will look out in the quite a large group of these beings with the humans, and he will brace himself and open the door and walk out and close the door.
Okay. All right. Tom.
Tom will do the same.
Okay.
Except he'll hold the door open if any of the NPCs wants to get out.
Oh, they're gonna get out.
Yeah.
Tucker, I will do your vehicle first. Tucker gets out and looks at these creatures with disdain and makes a note to place the barrel or the bipod of the railgun on the hood of your vehicle and points it towards their direction. Doesn't fire anything. You can see a few of the die-in bristle a little bit at that move, but although things are tense, there are no shots fired. Alicia gets out on the opposite side of the door and does something very similar to Al, taking cover. Whereas Ivy and Louis Tang-Fai also depart, and they circle around to the back of the ATV rover. As you get out, you hear the creeping, tinny, crackly voice of the woman with the black skull on her head. She says,
I was wondering if you would come or not. I am glad there is some sense within your species, and that we may discuss. For, as you can see, no one's really in a position to be in a fight. She pauses for a moment. She will continue, but I'm giving you guys a chance.
No, let them talk.
Okay. All right. Ventrix is a fine servant, a fine child of mine. And he has brought you here? Ventrix, by the way, has moved. He's number 7 right now. He's moved in to meet with his Diane brothers. As Rena continues, and I am glad you are here. Answer me this question. She gestures to the humans in the groups around her. Why do you need these humans?
They are our friends.
Friendship? Is that all? I am sorry. We need them far more than you do. Friendship cannot stop the swarm, but their skulls will. Therefore, I have been made aware of your power. I have been made aware of your flying ship, and I am sure that you could do us great harm before we killed you. But I need each and every single one of my children if we are to succeed. Therefore, I offer you some mercy. Go now. Your friends, as you call them, are as good as dead. We need them. Leave. Do not return. And me and my children will not bother you anymore. You may continue to breathe until the swarm comes and kills you all.
Al will say, in a very cold voice. Actually, well, he'd probably be quiet in case anyone else wants to talk. I don't want to steal the show, so in case someone else wants to say something, he'll be quiet for a moment.
Nope.
Patrick does have something to say, but it will change a few things. The flow, let's just say. So I'm not quite sure if I should go or you.
Well,
Go.
here's an idea. How about we just be very egalitarian? Why don't either, if you want to save it, maybe for the effect, quickly type to each other what you want to say in Skype. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you could just say it right now, but that might lose some of the impact. I get it, right? But use Skype, type to each other what you're going to say, and determine who should take the front. And while you guys do that, I'm going to use the washroom real quick.
Oh, sure. Well, if he's gone, I guess we can just say. I guess it doesn't really matter.
So,
He'll
wanted...
hear it anyways.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't mind either way. We can type it or not.
all right.
Yeah, I don't care.
I think it's faster to. Personally, I have
Yeah,
a very
I agree.
simple thing. I wanted to challenge them.
Oh, to what?
So, remember when he said the dude said that there was like multiple tiers and things like that, and to impose people's wills and things like that. There's actually more than one way to do that, according to him, where an intellect could win. wits, challenge, that sort of thing.
Oh, I like that.
As well as
Interesting.
a simple duel or whatnot.
I am all for that because what Al was going to say is basically you harm a hair on their heads, and we won't kill you. We will kill your children here and leave you alive, so you know that it was your fault that they're dead. That kind of thing.
That's intense.
Isn't it? Isn't it
That
though?
is
Okay.
very intense.
Here's
and
the thing.
You see, let me actually spit this out really quick before I actually lose it.
Mhm.
I was thinking of just lighting the sky on fire.
Could you do it slowly? Because we all know that fast fire causes itchy trigger fingers.
I might be able to talk to Inferno about that.
If possible, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my thought behind
It's called flame eruption, not flame really slow get big.
Well, I mean, if it's small, if I do a small flame eruption and then super fuel a couple of times, then it would, kind of roll.
Yeah, mechanically.
You know what
that
I mean?
makes sense, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are still hashing out what you want to say or do, so I'll be quiet and I'll just be here to answer some questions.
Because here's my thinking. Yes, as you said, what I just said is intense because the thought is if we get into a fight with this many people, two things. One, we may win it, we might not. Two, I doubt very seriously we have any chance of winning it without these 4 people being killed. So the best bet is, failing something like what Patrick said, is to intimidate them into letting them go.
Yeah.
And I considered you can get other humans, not these ones, but man, that's not Al.
Yeah, that's
you can
not
kill
Al.
other
I mean,
humans, just not these humans.
Honestly, I'm of the mind that Tom would be all for just either if the group wants to retreating, or killing every single one of these fucks so that they don't actually, kill more humans.
Yeah, my priority would be getting these 4 back, and if we can do that and then retreat, fine. Because if we fight this many people, someone's gonna die on our side. I mean, like, the chances are very high that someone in our group will not survive it. They aren't as well equipped as we are, but it doesn't matter. There's 24 of them plus Rita. Yeah. So my thought is to try and intimidate her into letting them go, but I like Patrick's idea first.
Oh, good, because I haven't heard it, so it'll have more of an authentic response.
Mm-hmm. But I need to run to the restroom real quick, but you guys keep
well,
going. I'll be right back.
No. You go to the bathroom. We'll take a bathroom break.
be right
Then
back.
we'll resemble. Even though this is
Okay.
quite a bit of a cliffhanger for those who are watching, we must apologize. Not gonna lie, I'm so glad you guys finally got to talk to Rena because I get to use my Rena voice. I love my Rena voice. There was a little Spanish flea. Na 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 da 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 da. I'm just teasing. And then there was silence.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
can't
just
say it.
like
No, I can't say anything, and so we gotta wait for the bathroom bros to come back. So, I guess we could talk to the chat real quick, answer any chatty questions.
Oh yeah. If you guys want questions, you got some.
Sweet. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just putting a few more brain cells towards.
Yeah,
the
no,
plan.
think. I'm not one to rush, especially when it comes to important or climactic decisions. I'm not gonna be like, oh, guys, fucking hurry up, right?
I wish Criana was here because.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, that's how the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Squee can answer. Squee's in the bathroom.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Now we just wait for the Squee. The Squee.
I mean, I I just realized something. Tom has also had some training with animating his fire somewhat.
It's true. He has. He
So
has.
I could make a huge like animated backdrop for in the sky for this thing. It would take a lot of ISP, but
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. And maybe
I,
an art roll too.
Cool. Yes. I'm gonna just quickly answer a few questions there in chat. Yes, the die-ins do have, as Patrick knew from kind of a lore check, they do have a much warmer inner body core temperature, and the die-in are 100% my creations. Although the art for it was done by a very famous modelist. Whom should get credit, but I forget their name. So that's what they get. Actually, you know what?
We got some time.
Yeah, I can find it real quick here. Give me a second.
So I have exclusive knowledge on this particular being. And they're reproducing. Good.
Start seeing black stones coming out of Arena, you're gonna be in some serious trouble. Also gross.
Not like this.
You know, that's what I said. Gross.
Everyone thinks how other people do it is gross. If you ask a snake how they reproduce versus how we reproduce, they'll be like, yes, that's stupid. Yes. Oh no, this isn't gonna work. How about... Oh. No. Darn it. Oh, artist formerly known as crap.
Hi.
Okay, let's get back to it. Sorry guys, I can't find who made the model of the die-in. They're not even called die-in, I just called them die-in. Anywho, alright, welcome back.
Can I ask, because I was going to ask, is that actually a model of Diane or something similar
No.
that you said, oh, this looks good?
I'm not going to explain the method of my madness, but as I
No.
said, I made up the die-in myself. They're a custom race.
Oh, geez.
But the model for it is done by a professional model artist, whose name I cannot remember, and therefore cannot get credited to, which is shame on me, I guess.
I am impressed. They are very cool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So throwing this back to you guys, what do you want to do and respond with here?
All yours, Patrick.
Oh boy. Okay. God, I'm so nervous now. Patrick will say, we have two separate wants between our two groups. I have heard that things are determined through impressing other people's strength or will on each other. I think a non-lethal challenge should resolve this.
She looks at you carefully for a moment.
she says, "Who told you such?"
I've met briefly with a Dain, and he has divulged some information for me to know your culture a little more.
I see. The doomed human has spoken with one of our fallen children, and now he thinks he understands our culture. Very well. What challenge do you propose to determine who has sway and true power?
You're right, I do not know your cultures. Is there a proper challenge that is set before another?
Strength is strength in all of its forms. And you have not answered or replied to my most gracious gesture. I do not see you depart. Instead, I see you be defiant. But if it prevents the death of my children and allows us to continue to cultivate what is needed to appease the swarm, I will listen for now. But my patience is not eternal.
If you would like to prevent death, I would assume a non-physical means. How about one of wit?
Wit. You mean the powers of the mind?
Yes.
Very well, Rena says, and her smile gets much, much wider. You give me, you demonstrate what your mind can do, and I will demonstrate what mine can do. And the more powerful shall win this little test. Truth will be found, and you will depart and leave your friends to us.
Sorry, I'm laughing to myself because of Patrick putting himself in such things.
Dazzle them, Patrick. Dazzle them.
So Patrick's mind.
Rena brings a 3-fingered hand. She raises it and she gestures towards you.
If this is to be a true battle, then you and I must stand against each other. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to stay between you and your friend here.
And Rhonda gives a bit of a sob.
But stand in front of me, a little bit closer, so I can look at you and be in awe of what humans can provide. I say, if you were as smart or as witful or as powerful as you say you are, you would be trial. You would be able to defeat the swarm. But we both know that is not true, which is why I am smiling so.
After hearing that, Patrick will actually go and look at her and say, "Let the battle begin." As he's going to whisper something.
Hold up a second real quick, homie. Let's move your token.
He's not moving up.
Oh, he's not moving up.
No.
Yeah, I still want to move you about 40-ish feet away.
All right.
Everyone can if people can move their tokens, then feel free to do so. Just don't get any closer than like this.
Okay. I cannot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it says no, never mind. It says nothing.
I miss
All
Jackie.
right. Yeah, well, you're the ones who deactivated her and put her in the golden place, not me.
I know. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Today.
Inferno, has a parent ever said to a child, "You're the one that did it," and the child go, "Oh, that's right." Of course not. They never think it's their fault. I miss Jackie.
All right. Anywho, anyways, you whisper something. What do you whisper?
I say pronouncedly, let the battle begin, and then he's going to cast his spell with what little PPE that he has left.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to cast Calling. I'm going to try to make her come to me.
What the? What the?
Well, that's definitely asserting control.
Well.
All right. Give me a moment. I just want to read Calling. You've personally met Rena. That's true. You're within range. Yeah. It says the mystic must know the person's whole name and must have personally met the individual, even if only briefly. Yep.
There's been introductions of a sort.
Okay. Let me just take a look at one other thing. AKA, she's got to make a save here.
I have a +1 spell strength.
Okay. And it's a standard saving throw.
Standard.
So she needs, at base, she needs to roll over 13. Her smile wavers a little bit. And her tan eyes furrow a bit. She stares at you for a few seconds. A few more silent seconds pass. Smile. That is all you got. Now, it is my turn. Save versus psionics, Patrick.
Mm-hmm. And how? Okay, so let me double check the psionics thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is ritual. That is magic. That is psionics. Okay.
She brings a hand up as a soft gesture, and for a moment you feel a tinge, a tickle, a pinch in your lung, but it fades away immediately. The smile on Rena's face fades completely. She stares at you, and she says, "It appears that both of us cannot overtake the other. Neither is
more. We are both of the same level, of the same tier, of the same year.
Of the die.
Now.
As Patrick say, of the die.
Will of the die?
Oh, the same. You're saying that of the same tier, and he say of the die.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. You are Dial. As are we. So, I have entertained your challenge. I expect you to depart. All of a sudden, a feminine cry calls out coming from Rhonda. She says, "Don't do it! Kill them! If we have to die, they can't." And Irina interrupts her. She says, "Silence, child, or I'll make sure you'll never speak again." Rhonda gives a shocked expression. It looks like she wants to say more. Her eyes are pleading at you, but she doesn't speak.
Out of character, Piph, you got any more thoughts up your sleeve?
Well, to be honest, no.
I gave it my best shot.
I really thought it would work too. All right.
It was a pretty good one, to be honest.
It was. All right. Then Al will say in a very, very cold voice, "You truly believe this thing is coming that will destroy your people if you don't succeed?"
I do not believe. I know. I have seen it, you poor, ignorant human.
Then let me tell you something with as much certainty. You are right that we are strong. If you harm a hair on their heads, I will not kill you, but we will massacre your children, and you will stand over their dead corpses knowing it was your fault.
At that, I would like to punctuate that statement with the eruption plan that we were talking about earlier.
Okay, so you'll have to go in a little bit more detail than the eruption plan, my friend. So you want to make a very small, like a 1 foot by 1 foot column of flame?
Yeah, in the air, suspended.
Okay.
And
In the air, how far above them? Like in the tree line?
Above us, about 15 feet.
Above you guys, about 15 feet.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that starts when Al begins his ultimatum?
At the end of it.
So, okay. All right, at the end of it. And then you're going to feed ISP into it to make it grow, right?
Yes, to grow slowly over towards them and ignite the sky, essentially.
Okay, so I'm going to need like a time period. So when you slowly, you mean like over a period of 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay.
Or do you think something else, Al?
I was only saying, like, it would be so much more powerful if this was happening while Al was saying that. Like, it was slowly growing as Al was talking, yeah.
Sure, let's do that then.
Okay. All right. So I'd like you to spend the ISP to do the column of flame, and then the ISP to fuel flame.
All right.
That should be enough for the 30 seconds.
Yeah. That will be 20.
Or okie doke. Spend it, baby.
Doing it.
So Al, first and foremost, I'd like you to roll me a D100, please.
Okay.
Interesting. Now, if you guys don't mind, just give me a few moments to my own thoughts here.
Of course.
I'll be right back.
No problemo.
Al doesn't
I get
want.
to do something.
I don't want these people to die.
Okay, figured it out. As you speak. Actually, wait, give me a moment. Okay. As you speak those words, in the dimming sunset, calm, small flicker of flame begins to appear over your heads. And as your words get more intense, as your threats deepen, so does the flame brighten as it crawls and creeps above you. And you can all feel, well, not really, unfortunately, because you're all wearing body armor. But if you weren't, you would all feel the flame heat and sizzle above you. As you speak, all the Dai Yin, especially the ones clustered around the ground, tighten their weapons, look wide-eyed, and they murmur. A few of the barrels of the guns begin to shake and quiver. And Rena's smile is gone. Her toothy mouth is a small singular O shape. The Dai Yin clutch the prisoners like they're drowning and they're life preservers. They hold them close, hoping perhaps that it'll be the only thing to spare themselves of your wrath. As the fire continues to crackle above, Rena replies, "You wouldn't dare."
Al will, after just a second, he'll say, "Others have stood in our way. Rulers of kingdoms, barons of empires. Would you like me to tell you what happened to them?"
Oh my god. Let me think. I gotta just get in the head of a fucking demented prophet lady for a moment.
You may have done all of those things, but the Swarm is not a baron of empires. The Swarm is not a kingdom.
And you can see, even especially now in the glow of the flame, her eyes begin to wetten, to moisten. She says,
You think we do this because, what, we want to? We desire to? We have never had any problem with your kind. But this is the only way, don't you see? The Swarm will go, and if you drown water,
Al will, in the same very cold voice, say, "I am aware of what's coming, but it is not here yet. We stand here in front of you, and if you do not let them go, your Children will die before ever you get the chance to face the swarm. Or you can let them go now. And I promise you, we'll do what we can to protect you. However small that may be, the choice is yours.
You ask us to trade a certain death for a death that might not be as certain, whether by your hands or by the swarm. What choice is that for a race?
The same choice you gave us. They are our friends, our people, our children, and you risk taking them from me, from us? Never. I will see you burned and buried in the ground first.
Sorry, thank you for letting me think.
Of course.
I'm sure my clicking are not really listened to, but I mean, it's possible.
Inferno, before you go on, just really quickly, you're having a lag spike.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just
I just
Great, clears up. I can think.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Whatever it is, please roll in our favor.
Yes,
Oh,
no
okay.
worries.
I thought he was rolling something.
I am really glad that I was able to Tom was able to team up with Al.
Oh my god. Al's like inside. Al's like, oh please, oh please, oh please.
I like
Yeah.
I like how the particular conversation between us is like, a challenge, yes, a challenge. I begin it. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Very well. Let me try. You're good.
Yeah.
There's something happening. I'm not sure what.
All right, let me know when you guys can hear me clearly.
We can hear you clear enough. Yes, there's very little distortion. At least on my end.
Yeah, but is there a delay? I think there might be a delay.
There may be a delay.
I guess the important thing is if you can all hear me clearly. Can you do that?
No.
No. It was looking good, and then it turned to crap.
We can try Skype.
We could try Skype.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to make sure to mute each other on this.
All right.
Right.
Okay,
So just
Skype
mute
it
in
is.
here.
Excuse me.
Hello. Hello. Oh, right. So,
Hi.
Oh.
hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, is Inferno's here?
Not yet.
The gasp. Uh-oh.
Again,
This is the worst time.
No, it gives them time to think. Leave him alone.
That's true. That's true.
You gave him a big thing.
I did. And a decent roll. If that was if that roll I made was for intimidation, which I hope it is.
Yeah.
I think
Hey.
maybe the 9 was maybe a horror factor or something.
If that was okay, let's say the 9's a horror factor. The first roll low is bad. Low is good. No, low is bad the first time.
Yeah.
Good the second.
Yes.
I always mess that up. And I GM
Who's the
game.
host of the call?
I am.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Make sure to stop calling Criana and Rachel and all them.
I did.
Okay, good.
I should have. Should not be calling them. So yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Inferno.
Hi, Inferno.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Just let me know if I'm Robo Inferno or anything like that. Okay,
Sound very. Yeah.
good. I think the good thing about Skype is that I'll know the call quality is going to get bad when I can't hear you guys very well.
Mhm.
So it's always around this time, though. What a pain in the butt. Okay, anyway, enough bitching about my internet. More into the game. Okay, so when we last left off, Al intensified, and Rena's waiting for a reply. Okay. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So at Al's second set of words, you can see some of those quivering weapons are now moving to the ground. They're still very, very close to these prisoners, but about half of them are kind of dropping their weapons. The other half are kind of looking to Rena, almost shocked and surprised at her own response to you. As she replies with, "And what is to become of us then?"
I am no fool. You release those 4 people to us, and we will leave you unharmed.
And what is to stop you from killing us? These are our only salvation. Your friends are the only reason why that fire doesn't grow closer to us.
Inferno, I'm sorry. The name Menson? Trying to
What
think.
man's
Manzan.
like the
Manzan.
Doom Speaker? Manzan, yeah.
Menson. Al will say, if we wanted to murder you, we would have also have killed Manzan. You will find him with his family safe. I am... Sorry, out of character. Sorry, I keep saying I. He wouldn't say I. Al says, we are like you. We seek only to protect our own, not to murder others. Release them, and we will leave you in peace. Harm them, and I swear, you will not leave this place alive.
Pull back your flame, and we will release your friends.
Does Tom do so?
Yeah.
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 Oh.
The flame will disappear altogether instantly.
You hear a few sighs, especially for those Diane that are on the top of that little hill. One by one, each group that have their 3-fingered claws clutching to these humans
let them go is each of the captives of Elzone Prime weakly run towards you. Some stumble, some fall, some give cries of surprise. And as they do so, the other Dalian begin to circle around Rena. In fact, whoop, I'll just start moving a few tokens around to demonstrate such. Oh no, not the 11! Oh no. No, 11, no! Alright, there we go. I thought I made that one into a group, but I clearly didn't. It made a liar out of me. Oh god, and there goes 14.
14 now.
Oh no. Whatever, they make a circle around her. I'm not gonna fuck around with tokens when I can just
What
is
describe
going
it.
on? It's the swarm.
So yeah, they make a circle around her with her at the apex or the front of the circle itself, facing towards you, of course. Circles don't really have fronts. Anyways, and as the survivors of Elzone Prime move back towards the van, giving a few hugs to Ivy and Louie, Teng Fai. Rena finally says, I hope you are beings of your word, as well as beings of greater power. Because now, our race is dependent on that of a foreign kind. Hear me well, humans of great power, destroyers of barons, conquerors of kingdoms. If you fail, we shall die, and it will be all your fault. Visions as intense as these do not lie. I have become pregnant, but not with child, but with fear and despair.
Oh my
Al will
God.
say in a softer voice. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
What? What?
No, just Patrick is thinking back to the whole birthing process.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
It's not the time or place, Patrick.
Like, if you just want an abortion or that, you just gotta put it close to your skin, warm it right up, destroy it, crack it in half.
That is awful.
Al, oh my God.
Thanks.
No
Thank
problem.
Hashtag mind of Patrick.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Al will say in a much softer voice, I know how you feel.
No, you do not. Do not say such words. You do not.
Then let me say this. We no longer hold you any ill will, but the swarm you speak of will. And one day, it will stand between me and my friends. And on that day, don't fear for your people. Fear for the swarm. And then Al will get in the ATV with the, or usher the others into the ATV.
As you depart, as individuals get loaded onto the ATV, the rovers, you hear Arena, and she's wailing at this point. Her words are wailing. It simply screams, "Fools, fools. Our lives are in the hands of fools." And
You're able to depart unmolested.
And the second Al gets into the ATV, like everyone's in the ATV, and maybe when we're turning to go, Al's body goes like completely slack, and he goes, "Oh fuck me."
Nope,
Tom,
Alicia says, and she gives a nervous laugh.
Tom's gonna say over the radio, "Well done."
Al's gonna give Alicia a weak punch in the shoulder, and then turn around and go, "Okay, well, actually, here's important. Who's where?"
Ivy and Phil. Who's Phil? Ivy and Louie Tangfai are back in the ATV with two of the individuals, Rhonda and one other, while Tucker and Tom and Patrick and two other L-Zone Prime survivors are in their ATV. I could give you their names, but right now it's not really a time for introductions. Not introductions, but you know what I mean.
Al would actually remove his helmet very quickly and take a deep breath, and you'll see that he is covered in sweat. And he'll turn around and say, "Are any of you hurt? Do you need medical attention immediately?"
All of them the ones in your van, in your rover, kind of give a weak shake of the head. You can see they have scrapes, bruises, but no significant gashes. They just give a shocked shake of their heads. They're clinging to Ivy and Louie very tightly too. They're not saying anything though, but they give you the no shake of the head.
Al will say, "Okay, we're headed back. We have a ship. We'll get you there, and we'll get everyone out of here. You're safe now." And then Al will turn back around and lean back his head and just close his eyes and try and calm down.
You hear Rhonda say, "We thought we were dead. We thought we were good as dead. I can't believe they let us go." Anything in particular going on in Tom and Patrick's rover?
Not much.
Patrick is keeping his eyes on the road. Generally, he's more silent than his short mumbles of inner questions that he sends out loud, but he's been pretty quiet lately.
Okay.
There is one thing I wanted to ask Patrick. So Patrick, what kind of duel were you challenging her to? It's like you guys talked to each other and nothing really happened.
From what she was projecting, this is not going to be a normal battle of knowledge or problem solving, but one of mind. I took the first step in doing a non-lethal spell to call her over to me, instead of her calling me over to her, but in a more direct sense. I don't know what she was trying to do to me, but it's either I felt a tickle in my lung, whatever that could mean.
Oh, she was probably trying to do the whole ribcage thing. You know, pull out your vital organ, your main organ thing.
Patrick, the car slowly drifts over a little bit.
Patrick,
roll piloting check. Seriously. Roll piloting check.
For the love of God, Tom. Sorry, that's
Roll piloting check. Okay, you manage. You start to drift towards the tree, but you manage to regain your original trajectory and not crash the rover.
I would be scarce to say that we agreed on a non-lethal approach. I wouldn't think she would be so forward, but that may have been it.
Okay.
Al would said in response when they were said, I can't believe they let us go. Al would just very quietly, almost as if he was reciting, he would say, "The right words, said with conviction and certainty, can sometimes be more powerful than all the guns in the world."
No reason to that long again, but I heard you, of course.
Of
I'm
course.
so sorry. What? I'm sorry. You came broken up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Something, of course.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Let me know if you can hear me again.
We can hear you.
We can hear you now.
Okay. Then I'll repeat myself. They don't respond to you, but they can hear you, of course.
Yeah, Al's not looking. He's saying this almost as if he's remembering something a long time ago. So.
Okay. Slipping more into narrative way, you're able to retrace your steps, and the sun sets on your travel back to the Rhapsody. The lights on the rovers, the Mars rovers, come on, turn on. And in the of the forest of Imson Prime that were rescued by you and those that remain on the Rhapsody. Sobs and hugs and questions about Ivy and Louis and Tucker also received their share of praise. But they are the first witnesses to explain what happened. How Patrick faced down the might of Rena, and how a halo of flame surrounded Al as he boldly threatened what Rena cared for most. It's safe to say you return back to the behemoth at this point.
You're being very robotic-y, and I think it's pretty safe for
I
we're
got a
heading back.
lag spike, so there's probably like a big ass fun delay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the gist of what you were trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
People will talk about the time when Rena was threatened with the things that she loves, while Al was surrounded by a halo of flame, yada yada yada. And that we were going to the. It was a very good speech.
It was a very good speech.
Yeah,
We heard
I really
most-
liked it.
We heard most of it.
So-
You seem to be understandable now. It's almost like you're just a little bit lower quality than usual. But I can hear you just.
So
No, it's
tell
fine.
you what, as much as I want to continue this session good and proper, because there's a bunch of little interactions that we can do and whatnot because of the lag spikes and everything like that. But tell you what, we'll leave. If you guys, I'll give you things to think about for next session, and if you guys can seriously get back to me on this before the session, it's going to make next session go a lot. It's going to do with the people of Elzone Prime.
Yeah.
They're going to want a place that is safe and doesn't ask a lot of questions and
we even have some work for them. All right, those are like their requirements. But if you can't go us to at least make some place safe for them, you know, or find a way for them to let them go. And then the second question is, where do you want to take the Rhapsody next? If you can answer those two questions for me, please, to give me more time to prepare the next leg of the adventure.
Yeah, we could probably get something together.
Yeah.
I would be eternally grateful.
Yeah, we can definitely figure that out.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
Now-
Even if it's just in the group chat or anything like that. That's awesome. So, and so then I'll save some of my NPC interactions for the beginning of next session then, and just cut this one a little short.
All right.
Sure.
That sounds good. We could even figure out those things, like, while we're off the air.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
Yes,
of,
that's a great idea.
let's see you guys later.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye now.